Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's Explainer. We are going to unpack a topic that is quietly humming in the background of almost every single digital interaction you have. We're looking at the massive, complex, and honestly incredibly fascinating intersection of big data and the advertising field. I mean, think about it for a second. Every single day, humanity generates over 2 quintillion bytes of data. That is a mind-boggling amount of information. Every click, every scroll, every microsecond you linger on a post is scooped up. And it's actually estimated that advertisers hold thousands of individual data points on the average consumer. But, this isn't just a digital free-for-all anymore. We're going to explore the intense legal jurisprudence surrounding this big data machinery and how it dramatically impacts exactly what can and cannot be collected. We'll break down the actual mechanics of this system, analyze the core concepts, and make this entire invisible ecosystem completely visible to you. So what kind of data do advertisers really want from you? It's a core, deeply personal mystery that affects literally everyone who logs onto the internet today. It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is the engine driving a multi-billion-dollar global industry. You might think advertisers just want your name or your email address, but actually, scratch that. They are hunting for predictive data. They want to know if you're about to move to a new city, if you're planning to have a baby, or if you're subtly shifting your political affiliations. And here's the wild part. They want to know these things often before you even consciously realize them yourself. To truly understand the modern digital world, we have to understand exactly what the advertising field is extracting when they deploy big data.
All right, here's our roadmap for the explainer. First, the evolution of big data. Second, what advertisers actually want. Third, personal data and categories. And finally, law and data collection. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the evolution of big data. To truly grasp this dynamic, we need to trace how advertising data has evolved over time. Now, in the early years, data collection was highly analog and, frankly, pretty basic. Advertisers relied on broad demographic buckets driven by zip codes, magazine subscriber lists, and basic census data. It was essentially educated guessing. Then we hit the middle section, the rise of big data. This shift was sparked by the explosion of smartphones and the invention of tracking cookies. Suddenly, technology allowed for the capturing of massive, unprecedented volumes of individual consumer interactions in real time. It was an absolute digital gold rush, and there were virtually zero rules. But evolution doesn't just stop there. We've now entered a third distinct phase, the era of legal jurisprudence. The Wild West of infinite, unregulated data collection is finally facing intense legal scrutiny from major sweeping frameworks. This evolution from a free-flowing data stream to a legally restricted framework is the foundational reality of modern advertising. Moving right along to Section 2, what advertisers actually want. The ultimate goal of the advertising field is absolute, unvarnished understanding of the consumer. Look, advertisers aren't collecting data just for the sake of hoarding numbers on giant server farms. They are trying to build a comprehensive, multidimensional picture of your life. Let's say you buy a pair of running shoes online at, 11 p.m. To you, it's just a late-night purchase. But to an advertiser, that raw data point is instantly cross-referenced with your search history and your location data to create an actionable insight. They might infer that you're health-conscious, perhaps a night owl, and have a specific tier of disposable income. It's like a giant puzzle. The entire big data machinery is built around this single, powerful objective, translating raw, isolated data points into deeply actionable consumer insights that predict your very next move.
Now for Section 3, personal data and categories. So what exactly is personal data? It's a specific information collected about individuals that forms the very foundation of modern big data advertising. Without personal data, big data is just meaningless noise. But personal data in the modern context is far, far more granular than just a social security number or a home address. We are talking about device fingerprinting, precise IP addresses, and exact mobile geolocations tracking your daily commute. We're talking about identifiable markers of individual behavior that link your offline identity to your online actions. When we discuss the laws around collecting data, we are primarily talking about the legal boundaries placed around this specific, highly sensitive concept.
Now, advertisers don't just dump all of your personal data into one giant, unorganized bucket. To make big data useful, they absolutely must organize it into precise categories. Think of these categories as different lenses. You have demographic data, which is your age and gender. You have geographic data, pinpointing exactly where you are.
But the real gold mines, those are behavioral and psychographic data. Behavioral data tracks what you actually do, the specific articles you read, the items you abandon in an online shopping cart. Psychographic data goes even deeper than that, categorizing your values, your attitudes, and your lifestyle choices. By separating personal data into these distinct, highly specific categories, advertisers can move away from generic billboards and deploy incredibly specific, hyper-targeted campaigns. Which brings us to our final core segment, Section 4, Law and Data Collection.
There is a massive, ongoing tension at the very heart of this industry. It's a real cat and mouse game. On one side, we have the vast desires of big data advertisers who want to collect deep, categorized personal data to perfectly understand the consumer. But on the exact opposite side, we have the ultimate boundary, legal jurisprudence. Major frameworks like the GDPR in Europe and the CCPA in California have fundamentally altered the landscape. While advertisers are designing advanced systems to gather behavioral insights, these legal frameworks are simultaneously deployed to mandate transparency, require strict opt-ins, and severely limit data retention. So the story of modern advertising isn't just about what algorithms can figure out about you, it's equally about what the law actually allows those algorithms to process in the first place.
Let's walk through the step-by-step process of how this friction plays out in reality. First, advertisers target specific data categories. Let's say they want to collect health-related behavioral data to sell fitness subscriptions. Second, before that data can be utilized, legal frameworks must be applied. Laws step in to evaluate those specific categories. Under frameworks like the GDPR, health information is classified as highly sensitive data. This means it triggers entirely different, much stricter rules that require explicit, affirmative consent. Finally, this results in step 3, restricting data collection. This is the tangible impact you see every single day, like those ubiquitous cookie consent banners you constantly have to click through. The legal requirements act as a massive filter, fundamentally changing the volume and the exact nature of the big data that ultimately flows into the advertising ecosystem. So, we've seen how the timeline of data collection has evolved from basic demographics to hyper-targeted psychographic profiling. We know for sure that advertisers relentlessly want to understand the consumer through meticulously categorized data points, tracking everything from your IP address to those abandoned digital shopping carts. And we've explored how legal jurisprudence, through frameworks like the GDPR and the CCPA, acts as a crucial boundary line, forcing consent and impacting collection at every single turn. But here's the thing, technology and behavioral tracking move at lightning speed, while legal frameworks often take years to draft, debate, and implement. So I want you to think about this the next time you see an ad that seems to know exactly what you were just thinking about. As big data continues to evolve, can the law ever truly keep up with what advertisers want? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this fascinating dynamic today. Keep asking questions and keep learning.